Not too often could you do a positive Jets segment in this area the last year and change. But we're doing a positive Jets segment, baby, because if you're a Jet fan and you tuned into the Jets Steelers preseason game last night and you were going to watch Geno Smith go out there and start the game after last week he was supposed to start, but they kept him out because of the ankle injury that Aaron Glenn said wasn't serious. Geno practiced all week, so you're thinking, okay, well, let's see what he could do with this offense. Frank Reich now calling the plays up from the booth. And I think if you're a Jet fan, what you saw last night was about as good of a performance by the Jet starters as you could have envisioned. They start the game, and they have a 10-play drive, takes 6 minutes off the clock. Geno Smith is 7 of 7, 65 yards, and a touchdown to Jelani Woods on a great play-action bootleg that Frank Reich calls, and Woods is wide open. And the Jets end up winning this game 17-0, but it's mostly backups playing after that opening drive. The Jets starting defense was out there for the first 3 series, and they looked good, but let's add some context. Pittsburgh didn't start Aaron Rodgers. They didn't even start Mason Rudolph. So for the second week in a row, the Jets starting defense faced a third-string quarterback. So the focus needs to be on what we saw from the Jets offense last night, and specifically from Geno Smith. And if you're watching this game last night, I think it had to be weird to see a Jet quarterback wearing the number 7 actually complete the forward pass. Because it took me a couple forward passes being completed for me to realize, wait, this isn't Justin Fields I'm watching. It's Geno Smith. So it was nice to see Geno do what he did. Again, no one's saying this Jets team is now going to win 10 games and go to the playoffs. But you have to find positives, somewhere to start. And a 10-play drive where Geno Smith has to convert on third down, including a 3rd and 9, where he hits Mason Taylor on a nice out route to move the chains, and a 3rd and 6 where Geno, showing his ankle looks pretty healthy, has to roll to the right to buy more time, and Garrett Wilson runs a beautiful route to get open and move the chains. You have to be encouraged by that. Again, you saw play action. You saw Geno on the run. You saw A.D. Mitchell come up with 2 really nice plays, including one where he had a toe drag to stay in bounds and complete the catch. It was encouraging to see that from the Jets starting offense. And while Pittsburgh didn't play all their starters on defense, for example, TJ Watt wasn't out there, you did see Geno do it up against a Steelers defense. They did have a lot of their guys out there. And again, seeing Geno in a Jet uniform and just seeing a Jet quarterback wearing the number 7 complete the forward pass, it took me a little bit to get used to that. But I was certainly encouraged by what we saw from the Jet offense last night. No Breece Hall, so Braylon Allen got the start. But if you're someone who wants to buy into this Jets team, if you want to find reasons for optimism, well, Geno Smith has to be the biggest thing that you point to and go, you know what? Last year with the Raiders, they were a mess. They had no offensive line. Their coach was not equipped to be an NFL head coach at this stage of his life. The offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, got fired in week 10. They were an absolute mess. Geno comes to the Jets, and while it's weird to say the Jets are a good environment for a quarterback, I think you saw last night they might actually be. They have a good offensive line. They have weapons galore. We didn't even see the first-round tight end the Jets selected, Kenyon Sadiq, because he's still out with an injury. So here's Jelani Woods making plays. Here's Mason Taylor in his second year after being a second-round pick making plays. Garrett Wilson, we know what he is, but he's never played a game with A.D. Mitchell yet. Well, now we've seen A.D. Mitchell look the part of a number 2 receiver. Last night, you saw Omar Cooper Jr. out there with the ones. He started. So much has been made about, is he off to a slow start? What's the real story? Isaiah Williams is getting more reps. Well, last night you saw Omar Cooper out there with the starting 11, and I think by the time we get to week 1, he's going to be the starting wide receiver with A.D. Mitchell and Garrett Wilson in that starting 11 for the Jets. But the point being is last night gives you something to point to that can make you feel encouraged about the idea of Geno Smith providing competent quarterback play. And here's my thing with the Jets. If you're not going to be very good this year, can you at least be watchable? Geno Smith can make this offense watchable. They have an offensive line. They have weapons. Can Geno Smith complete the forward pass? And we joke, but that is how low the bar has been from a Jet perspective. And last night, the answer, at least for that one drive, was yes. And I was curious to see how many drives Aaron Glenn was actually going to play Geno Smith in the starting offense. Because Geno did not play, of course, last week against Tampa in the first preseason game. And Glenn had come out and said that he wants to see his starters play between 25 and 30 reps in the preseason. Well, if Geno didn't play last week, you do the math. No one really plays in that third and final preseason game. So what would it take for Geno to get near that rep count? Well, if you're going to look as good as you did on that opening drive, get him out on a high note. So I thought it was the right decision after going down the field, 10 plays ending with a score, to then pull the starters. But again, last night, you have to be encouraged by what you saw from Geno, because we had been hearing that it's been an up and down summer for Geno. He got off to a great start, and then all of a sudden he was not playing as well. It didn't look good against the Bucs in the joint practice. Connor Hughes came on with me this past week. He covers the Jets for SNY. And when I was filling in for Chris Carlin, when I asked him about Geno, said he's been surprised that he's been timid. He has not been taking these chances downfield. We were led to believe that, hey, Geno might throw the ball to the other team, but at least he's going to throw the ball, which we didn't see last year. So, again, I'm not trying to tell you Geno Smith is going to go out there and be Vinny Testaverde and 98 Jet fans. But as someone who's just starving to watch competent football this year, and someone who doesn't believe in just tank and get Arch Manning or tank and get insert your college QB of choice in August, I can't be saying that. I want to at least give this coaching staff, give Aaron Glenn and these players a chance to be a surprise team this year, a chance to go down to Nashville week 1, where I'm going to be with thousands of Jet fans making the trip, and see if this team could give us a fun season or at least be fake good to start the year. Right? The Jets in 2022 were fake good. They started 6-3. They were 7-4. They finished 7-10, but at least they were alive going into the holiday season. Again, the bar is low, but when you have not seen the playoffs in 15 years and your team hasn't won more than 7 games in a decade, you're looking for anything. And I will continue to say that despite the fact the Jets have a reputation of being an awful place for quarterbacks, I truly believe Darren Muji, the Jets general manager, has done a really nice job assembling offensive talent for whoever the quarterback ends up being long-term. I don't believe it's going to be Geno Smith. He turns 36 in October. He's on a 1-year deal. But you know what Geno Smith can be this year? A really good bridge that gives you a chance to evaluate the rest of your roster. How could you evaluate your players on offense last year when you couldn't throw the ball forward? Mason Taylor, I thought, was pretty good if you watched every game like my fellow diehard Jet fans did. But how would you know if you just looked at his stats and saw he had 1 touchdown and had under 300 receiving yards? You wouldn't know. You'd be like, oh, he stunk, 2nd-round pick, and that's the type of production? Here's the trivia I always give to people to add some context to just how bad the Jet quarterback situation was last year. Mason Taylor caught 1 touchdown pass. The quarterback who threw it was Breece Hall. That's all you need to know. The Jets last year had Garrett Wilson, and then when he went down, he played 7 games. He led them in receiving yards. And again, he played 7 games. So Darren Muji, year over year, has done a masterful job adding talent to the offense. They got the pick right with Armand Membo at right tackle. I believe Olu Fashanu is going to be a really good left tackle. Joe Tippmann's a really good guard. Between Taylor, Sadiq, Cooper all being added, A.D. Mitchell being added, year over year, compare the Jets' starting offense week 1 against the Steelers to what it's projected to be this year. This could potentially be a good spot for a young quarterback. And there's a narrative, the Jets always draft the wrong quarterback. So, if they have 3 first-round picks, who cares? Because they're going to take Arch Manning and they're going to ruin him, or they're going to take so-and-so and he's going to be bad. I truly believe more often than not, organizations ruin quarterbacks. Then just guys can't play if they're picked that high. And the best example of this is the New York Jets drafted a Super Bowl winning quarterback with the 3rd overall pick in 2018. The problem is that Super Bowl winning quarterback walked into an environment where he had no talent around him, no offensive line, and his head coach was Adam Gase for the bulk of his time. They drafted Sam Darnold and failed him. So no matter what happens this year with Geno Smith, if he's Seattle Geno or he's not that level of player, I want to see competency at that position because that will give me at least a feeling that whoever they end up taking, and I fully believe the Jets' plan is to take a quarterback with one of their 3 first-round picks. It's all set up for them to do it. At least they're in a spot where that quarterback comes in and they have a chance to be successful. Maybe Aaron Glenn won't be here to coach that quarterback. He's got to win games this year, and it's got to look a lot better than it did last year. Can't look any worse. They got to win games early. It can't be a soft 7 wins where you beat the Bills' backups in Week 18 when you have 6 wins to finish 7-10. They got to show real promise. They got to get off to a good start. Beat Salah Week 1, right? If you can beat the Titans in Week 1, well, the Jets also have games in their first 8 against the Browns, the Dolphins, and the Raiders. Could you be 4-4 through 8? That'd be meaningful progress. That'd be more wins than you already had last year. Again, the bar is very low, but any chance of the Jets doing this for their fans is competency at the quarterback spot. And for at least one drive last night, you got a first look on what maybe that could actually look like from Geno Smith, who made plays, got the ball out quick, was decisive, and it was really encouraging to see. 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN is the number. Other takeaways from last night, and we'll get to your calls coming up, and Antoine Staley from the New York Daily News is going to join me at 9:30 today. It was really great to see David Bailey get a sack. You know what I loved about David Bailey's sack last night? He was nonchalant about it. He just got right back up, went right back to the defensive huddle. It's like he expected to get a sack. Call me old school, but I love seeing that. Bailey, he's wearing the number 31. You're thinking, is that Antonio Cromartie or is that Aaron Glenn? No, it's a defensive end who was the second pick in the draft who's had so little fanfare till training camp started, and we're hearing reports every day on how good he's looked. He's beating Olu Fashanu. He's beating Armand Membu. Then you're like, whoa, those guys are pretty good. Are rookies doing that? Then he's having success in the joint practice against a right tackle for the Bucs and Godecki, who's making over $20 million a year. You're like, whoa, that's something. And then against Broderick Jones, Jet fans know the connection. Belichick does a deal with the Steelers so Pittsburgh could jump in front of the Jets, who everyone thought wanted Broderick Jones in the draft that year. He swoops in. Belichick screws the Jets. Broderick Jones is the Steeler. Well, Broderick Jones has been terrible. And when the Jets have faced the Steelers, we've seen Will McDonald take Broderick Jones to the house, and we saw David Bailey get him last night. So that was great to see. Bailey looks the part of a number 2 pick. And if you're a Jet fan, that's got to be music to your ears, considering some of the other high draft picks the Jets have selected that have not looked like how David Bailey has looked. It's early, but that's another check in the box for feeling good about the young nucleus on this team. The Jake Asman Show is brought to you by PrizePicks. Check out PrizePicks right now. If you're a sports fan, they have something for everyone, especially if you're one of my listeners and you're gearing up for the upcoming Jets season. For player picks on PrizePicks, you just pick a player you like and you go more or less on a few of their stats. Check out some of the numbers they have for some of your favorite Jet players. Geno Smith, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Omar Cooper Jr., Kenyon Sadiq, and many more. PrizePicks should be your go-to. And check out their new offer right now. Play your first $5 and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you need to do is sign up and use that code HMA. That's PrizePicks code HMA. Download the app now or click the link in the description to download the PrizePicks app today.
The biggest contest we've ever seen.
Seriously, what's the guarantee?
They're still talking about it.
I think it's time to put the rumors to rest.
Showtime!
$30 million.
$30 million?
$30 million?
$30 million?
That's $30 million guaranteed. 3 contests, multiple ways to win, no rate. Entry starting at $1,000. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere.
Geno in the offense looked good. Bailey in the defense looked good. And I can't not mention this in the opening segment here. Not 1, but 2 interceptions by the Jet defense last night. Maybe play calling is Aaron Glenn's superpower, at least in the preseason, at least against third-string quarterbacks. And again, context, the Jets last week did not face Baker Mayfield they did not face Kyle Trask, the backup for the Bucs. Last night, they did not face Aaron Rodgers. They did not face Mason Rudolph. So the Jets starting defense has played 5 possessions through 2 games. And they haven't allowed any points, which is what you expect when you're facing third or fourth string QBs. But that's what they're supposed to do. And I was encouraged by what we saw. Harrison Phillips with a tackle for a loss. Bailey, I mentioned, with the sack. Demario Davis is putting out the hit stick. It's amazing he's 37. He don't look like it. And I don't think the Jets are going to play any of their starters against the Giants next week in their final preseason game. So I believe what we saw last night is the last we will see from the vast majority of key Jet players until they're down in Nashville against the Tennessee Titans on September 13th. But overall, if you're a Jet fan, you have every right to be encouraged and to be somewhat excited. Why not? It's sports, man. You're trying to find things to latch on to. I think the Jets have some young talent on offense. We saw it last night. I know they got talent on that defense led by number 31. So I think overall a very good night for the Jets, and there's still plenty of other angles from this game we will get into throughout the course of our show. 800-919-3776. Jake Asman with you till noon today. It's a Saturday in New York City. The Jets win 17-0 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're calling it revenge for the 2010 AFC Championship game. And by they, I mean me. And I'm not being serious. We'll get to your calls, though. That is serious. Plus, Antoine Staley from the New York Daily News. He's going to join me. Jake Asman with you on a Saturday morning. We're coming right back here on 880 ESPN New York.